Good evening, and welcome to the 1927 Club. Again, we're back. Feels like I haven't been around for a while, but first one back for a week or so. Obviously with the international break as well. Well-deserved break I had. I know obviously Reese has been on the screen, so happy days. How we doing, buddy?
Yeah, not bad. Buzzing from another win. Top of the league now.
Yes, and I think obviously we talked a little bit before we come on here, so a lot of negatives in the game, some positives obviously as well, and you've just highlighted the main one there, back on top of the league, but it wasn't pretty at times today, and I don't want to sit here for an hour tonight or 45 minutes, whatever we're going to be here, and try and be too negative, but I think it's hard not to obviously talk about some of the negative things, I suppose. But let's start off on the positive note. Like you said, back to top of the league. Results elsewhere in the division went our way today, so obviously we've crept back up to the top of the table. But so happy, well, got to be happy with that, haven't we? Really.
That's the thing. I mean, when you play poor and you win, it's a sign of a good team, and it's one of those where you can't criticise things when you're winning because it's working. So again, I know a few players weren't the best today, but while one or two had a poor game, I think one or two others stood out for the right reasons. I mean, Callum Chambers, I've criticised him so much over the past year and a bit. I thought today he was outstanding. He looked so calm. He finally looked like a proper centre half. I was so happy to see Chambers have a good game because, like I said, I've not been his biggest fan. But as long as he can prove me wrong and keep putting performances like that, I'll give him the praise. When a player deserves it, they'll get it.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I thought he looked solid at the back today. And yeah, again, I think we've all... I don't think there's been a Cardiff City fan out there that probably haven't thrown a bit of criticism his way. But like I said, he's out there with the shirt on, putting in, like I said, a strong performance today. So... captain as well, leading from the front, so happy days. Yeah, it was great to see him put a shift in. I wouldn't go. I think he's kind of passed the mantle a bit now, haven't he, to his centre back partner? I think really in Gabriel Osho. I think disappointing performance from him today, and fair play to Barry Murphy. Wasn't afraid to make that change early doors, straight off at half time.
I see the comment, I think BBM said, and it was he subbed it because he felt it would affect the scoreline. But it's a tough one with him because it's one game you can say, look, first game is just mere rustiness. Second game, third game, is it nerves? Is it because we're playing such a high line? He's never played this high line before, so therefore he's not putting the right way to pass in back when he goes back. But he just seems to make other players around him look nervy. Now, with the ball at his feet coming out, he looks brilliant. He's a ball-carrying defender. He looks brilliant carrying the ball. I don't know if it's just nerves, if he's carrying a knock. Maybe it's a mental thing. I don't quite know. But another poor performance. And again, BBM said Fish had his knee strapped up today. So it does say quite a bit when, you're taking off a defender for someone who's is injured because you're not quite confident they can put the performance in.
No, it was a bold decision he had to make, and, at the end of the day, he done what was right for the team, and hopefully, Osho will come good. There's no doubt there's ability there because he's played in some of the, the best leagues in the world type of thing, but I think listening to BBM's press conference after the game, he said, you can be a player who've played in the highest division, but at the end of the day, he's a Cardiff City player now, playing in League One. So whatever's gone has gone type of thing. He's got to realise where he is at the moment. I think he's been struggling with his fitness as well. I think I read that, I think he only trained on Thursday this week, didn't he?
Yeah, and I don't want to criticise the fans, I think. But you do hear it quite early in the game, like one bad pass and his groans and moans, and it's got to get to the players as well. Like you then probably overthinking everything you do. I don't think that helps. be fair, the fans are more patient with the youngsters than the Cardiff players. And rightly so, you will always be more patient with youngsters because they're learning. And the more senior pros, you expect them to do the basics a bit better. Like, but I do wonder if that played a part, say, because, you give your fans more in. At one point, I'm not sure if they were booing him, see, because I was asking a couple of lads around me and they were saying they were booing the English national anthem that the Reading fans were singing. But it just coincided with Oshawa having the ball twice. So he might want the picture, get the booing me,
Yeah.
Go on. Again,
it is a difficult one because I suppose, people pay hard-earned money to go and watch. We've all got an opinion. And it's like you said, it's difficult in it when something like that happens, and he could very well think, they're booing me here. And, maybe trying too hard. I think you said just now about, he's putting other people under pressure. He put Nathan Trott under pressure today, I think, a couple of times, especially with our one-on-one. And he done a fantastic job to keep that out as well. Yeah. But, there's 3 home games on a bounce now where, the first one you could probably give him the benefit of the doubt when, he slid in for that penalty against Bradford. Then it was the back pass for Leighton Orient, and then again today. So, I respect Brian Barry Murphy for making that decision, and, he took him off, and Will Fish come on, and I think he had a couple of things, mind. He passed back to Nathan Trott and went out for a bloody corner. Yeah. We give 10 corners away today. It's just, little silly mistakes like that. It is going to cost us.
And to be fair, mate, I think the fans moaning and groaning, you can't look at it as if to say, we're expecting to be up there this season. So in some regards, I think it's more a case of there's high expectations, and you want that. You want the players to know there's high expectations. You want to thrive in it. If they were booing him when he had the ball, I don't like that. But again, the guys around me are saying they were booing the national anthem because he had Reading fans singing it. Because as soon as that ended, there was the chance of Lizzie's in a box. So I was like, well, I don't understand what's going on here. But again, Fish, like I said, Fish a bit of bad poor back pass. I think it was one or two little things. I think we got a bit nervy, and I think we sort of invited pressure as well at the end. And to be fair,
go on.
As I say, it's just good to see the lads being able to stand up and see the game out. And we give them chances, don't get me wrong, but we threw our bodies on the line at the end, and we give Reading chances to come back in the game. But to be fair, we see the game out, and we're top of the league thanks to that. So it's hard to be critical.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I think I was listening to the phone in on the way home, and it just goes to show the standard of League One. If you're giving an away team 26 opportunities to shoot at goal, you'd expect to see 4 or 5 goals at least, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Everything on the scoreboard, but I know we've got the octopus in goals in Nathan Trott, who's outstanding again today. We had the clearance off the line, which felt like a goal in itself, really, when Fish done that. I think at the end. I think BBM said on his thing that, behind the goals type of thing, everybody went up and they was cheering as if it was a goal. But I think that the mentality is there in the sense that, they're still fighting until the final whistle. But, again, we should have put that to bed a lot earlier, I think. Still, we're reluctant to shoot in certain areas of the pitch. I just don't know why we don't just have a go.
Yeah.
If it goes into row Z, it goes into row Z, but at least you're having a go. If you don't try, you're not going to thing here.
This is the thing, right? Look at Leighton Orient's goals. The goal today, Bradford's game, right? Their goals all come from them taking pot shots outside the area. And it takes a deflection, it bounces the right way. This is what happens when you pepper the goal. We'll go in or get a deflection, we'll get a score. A few times today, the same thing happened again. Like, we get the ball wide, and then you've got 3 players stood around each other, only Salix and one in the box. And then we look reluctant to cross the ball into him. We look to pass it on the back line, and just thinking, put the ball in the box and see what happens. We're not going to score otherwise. I thought second half we came out the traps a lot better in my second half. We started winning second balls a bit more, and we had a spell for about 20 minutes where we got on top. And I think Isaac Davis coming on really helped. Like, that pace and just running in behind and exploiting the wings was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think it's tough. I see why Kellerman starts, because I think Kellerman has got something special. He can go past the player like he's not even there. And Willock has been brilliant this season for us, so I understand why he's playing. But I think Davis deserves to start in the league now, if I'm honest. Next, maybe. I think he looked really good.
Yeah, and I suppose coming off the bench when you're playing against tired legs, but I know they changed their right back as well, didn't they? And I was surprised they changed their right back, if I'm honest. But and their left back, the guy with the long throws, especially when you're 2-1 down, I thought that was a bit of a strange decision when you've got someone who can launch a ball in to take him off. But at the end of the day, we're not going to argue with that. But there's a question in the chat I just wanted to bring up from Steve Davis just before we start talking about the second half and stuff. But why are we so slow to start? Do you think Do you think we give them perhaps not enough respect today? And that's probably the wrong words, really. But I don't know. Perhaps we didn't expect them to come and play the type of football that they did. I didn't think they were great, but I think from our mistakes we made first half and what we weren't doing with and without the ball, we made them look a lot better than what they actually were. And that's no disrespect to Reading. That they came and they tried to play football. We've seen teams come to Cardiff City Stadium this year and park the bus from the first minute, really. But it's just frustrating, especially when you see now we come out and start to play in second half. Why we can't do that from the first whistle? He talks about he wants to play expansive football. He wants to excite the crowd, and it couldn't have been anything further from that first half, could it?
Yeah, I think we looked really lethargic the first half. It was slow, it was ponderous, it was slow getting the second balls, it was slow closing down. And I think Reading looked like a team full of energy, mate. They were pressing us from the from the front, they were pressing us. And we just struggled with that, the lack of movement in midfield. I think the midfield balance is completely wrong. There's some problem in midfield. We look overrun there all the time. And that's not right. I think you get the midfield balance right, I think we look like a different side. But there's not enough movement off the ball when it goes to the midfield. I don't quite know what's wrong. I don't know if it's you can't play a 6, an 8, and a 10 because it's just too much space in the middle end. I don't know what it is, but today a few players just look lethargic.
Joel didn't have his greatest game today. I didn't think that he didn't seem to have as much of an impact. Turnbull needs to do more for me. I just think we're lacking somebody in that midfield area. I know Ruben can drive forward with a ball, but somebody who's confident to drive and try and beat, in the middle really is, Alex Robertson. I don't know what's going on there. I think he got called up by Australia and he went, didn't he? And I don't think he even made the squad, did he? I don't think.
No, and the Australian manager said he wanted to speak to him to find out the problems he's got at Cardiff or the situation he's has at Cardiff, which tells me there's obviously a problem there then. I know BBM says just intensity and stuff, but I think coming from them, I think I said so. I don't think we'll see him in a shirt again if I'm honest to. I just don't think we'll see Alex Robertson again. Something's happened there and they're not telling us what. That's up to them. But I think, look at last season, right? There were some games at Ariza where it was Turnbull and Robertson together, and because they're both technically very good, you put a man on one of them, the other one's freed up. He's in space and time. We control games like that sometimes. I just think when you put one of them on, it's too easy to close him down. Nothing against Joel. I forgot he was on the pitch today at one point. I just generally forgot he was on the pitch. I think first half he started off so far up the pitch. It looked like Turnbull was on his own in the middle, trying to run the game, and I did feel for him a bit there, but there's just the balance is not quite right. And I think it's something we got to address big time in January, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. Question from Macanish there. Does Chambers start at centre-back next week? Lots of people praising him today, bar me. I don't think we got much options at the moment, but with Dylan Lawler being injured, Osho's performance today, I would imagine if Fish gets through training this week, I would imagine it'll be Fish and Chambers, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, if someone plays, like I said, we criticised Chambers last year. I did a lot, right? And if someone plays good, I'll give them all the praise. Like Willock is, change my opinion on Willock have because the way he's performing. Chambers, I think it was Burnley. He was outstanding. Who was after Burnley? I can't remember now. Was it? I can't remember who played after that. But Chambers had about two games on a bounce where he was outstanding. Then gets dropped. He come back and say, I thought he was brilliant. He calm head. First touch was brilliant. I thought fair play. I really didn't expect that. Like the first touch, that was brilliant. He covered for Osho a few times as well. And I thought, credit to him. Like he stuck in today. He gave a solid performance. Him, Trott were brilliant. I thought Turnbull did try a bit, but like I said, it was just not enough support in the middle for him. And then he was forced to go back a few times. And Kellerman was quiet as in bits, but then he came alive in the second half. And I don't know what happened in the second half time, but he just came alive. He did. Yeah,
and I think I said to you before we come on live again, from the family standing, obviously he's attacking down obviously his channeling on the right-hand side there. He had so much space that first half on that right-hand side, and we just couldn't get that ball to him quick enough, could we?
No. And it's something you see, I think we see a bit like last year, reminds me of that a bit, where it goes to the Vegan, then it goes to Chambers, and it slows down, then it goes to Osho, slows down, then it goes to Kapakio. And by the time he's done that, the defensive shape of the opposition has shifted across. So all of a sudden, all that space we had to exploit is gone. And there's two men ready there then. So then the space on the left-hand side, but we're too slow when to get there. I think when you see Fish and Lawler play together, you see them doing the cross-field passes. You see Fish launching across to Willock, who's in tons of space at the end. But I think Osho tried that today, and I think he missed it so many of them. He's just stopped in the end.
Yeah, it was.
Moving the ball side to side is quite slow, I think, and ponderous sometimes. We've got to speed up a bit.
There was a question in there asked by Jamie regarding Cian Ashford obviously come off the bench and then he went back off, got subbed back off. Jonathan has kind of answered the question there. Ashford went off to go 5 at the back to try to protect the lead. Salek was the other one BBM was thinking about, but Salek offered the physical presence defending set plays, which it was tough. I think BBM said it was a tough decision to make, but at the end of the day, he's got a job to do to try and get them 3 points. And hopefully Ashford will take it on the chin. And, it's kind of like sacrificing one for the team type of thing, So,
yeah, I can see why Salek stays on. I mean, you keep a target man on when you're trying to protect the lead, simply because if you get the ball up to him, you expect him to hold the ball up and just kill some time, win a free kick, win a set piece or something. I understand why you keep him on. I thought fresh legs with Ashford coming on, you would have kept him on and maybe taken Ruben off. Just because you got Robertson was playing, you could leave him with a 10. A back 5, you can have the white boys tuck in a bit, try and spring the trap of the counter. I mean, it's not going to do Ashford's confidence any good. However, hopefully, it makes him, determined to put a performance in to prove the manager wrong. So,
what's your opinion on this comment from Howell? Big fan of Charlie Savage. Would love us to put a bid in for him in the next window.
Agree. I've been saying this for the last 2 seasons. I think, was it last year we had the Reading pre-season friendly when we?
Yeah.
And I watched him all game, and he just picks up his little spaces, a box of space in the midfield. But the play runs through him. He's just so calm with the ball at his feet, and he's always looking forward for the pass. I think
loves
he
a bit of niggle as well, and he's not afraid to leave a bit on someone.
I think he runs the game really well, and I think we missed the boat with him a bit because Reading were in some financial trouble big time when last season, and he probably could have come on the cheap. Since they've been sold, they're probably going to hold up for a bigger fee, but I'd like to see someone like Charlie Savage come to the club if he wants to.
Yeah. Let's have a little look through some of these. Mark Cox agrees as well, says Charlie Savage was really good. Yeah, agreed. I think they had a corner, and he had a shot from the edge of the box, and Nathan Trott, another outstanding save in fairness to him.
This is one of my pet peeves, this is right, because this happened against Leyton Orient. This is how Bradford scored, I believe, as well. They're leaving a man on the edge of the box. We're totally oblivious to it. We don't even notice them. The ball goes to them, and we're so slow closing it down and stopping it. They had a shot today, that shot, Charlie Savage's one, right? 2 minutes later, we had another corner. We leave the same man free at the same position. I have no one near him again. This time they whipped the ball in though. But you've got to be aware of things like this. I mean, first half, they had a corner completely open at the back post, a free header for them. And it's little things like this. You got to be thinking, come on, be more aware, lads. Be more switched on a bit. Come on.
Young Ronan Kapakio obviously went away on with the Welsh squad. Outstanding again today for me, I think.
Yeah. His pace. I think he stood his man up well quite a few times as well, I think, today. The ref wasn't giving nothing for us. So he couldn't go down. To be fair, he stood his man up. He won the ball back a few times. Unlucky giving away a corner, I think, at one point, and a throw in. But going forward, he offers so much as well. I mean, I think you got Kennan with the ball. You got the overlap with him and his pace then. You can see their defence have no idea what to do at that point. They track the runner. Kennan cuts inside and scores. It's things like that. I think he looks solid, and I'm excited to see how his career progresses because last full-back Cardiff produced, I think, that was top quality, was Chris Gunter. And I think he's a different kind of player to Chris Gunter. But I think he can go further, if I'm honest, too.
Yeah, no, it's a good. Be interesting to see what happens there. So, what do you think the mood was like in the changing room half time? Obviously, there was a couple of boos that went around the ground at half time whistle. I know you haven't listened to the interviews after the game, but Salek said, it wasn't the kind of air dryer treatment. It was kind of like, keep persevering, keep doing what you're trying to do and what we've been working on in training. But and obviously they came out and scored a goal within the first 4 minutes, I think it was, in the second half, and it was what was needed, I think, wasn't it?
It's a tough one because, again, say it doesn't work right, you're then saying he's giving them the soft treatment in the change room. I'm not saying he should be shouting and stuff, but I think a few of them needed a kick up the arse today. I thought a few of them need the rock.
I'm surprised there wasn't an announcement over the tannoy. Can Rhys David Evans please come down to the home team changing room?
I just think we look so lethargic, so slow, so ponderous in the first half. It hasn't got the manager. I want the captain to be saying at half time, saying something. I want someone to lead it a bit, because again, we hear this all the time now. You can't shout to players. You've got to put the arm on the shoulder. I'm not saying they've gone weak as mentally, but sometimes you've got to shout them. And I think after that first half performance, they did need to put the arse, I think, a bit. But again, they came out second half. It worked, so you can't really criticise it. They came out second half. We had a 20-minute spell. I think we were on top. We should have scored a few more. But then we sort of got a bit nervy and sat back, invited pressure, stopped really pressing them, allowed them a bit more time on the ball. And I think they really should have scored. I think they should have. But again, we threw our bodies on the line, kept them out, and again, we come home with 3 points and they don't. That's football sometimes. Yeah,
somebody mentioned earlier in the chat, and obviously people are obviously there watching and things, but to allow a team to come to Cardiff City Stadium and have 26 opportunities and shooting at goal, for me, is mind blowing.
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, if you look at stats, this is it, right? Because stats, you can look at stats all day and they can say one thing, but when you watch a game, it's different. Stats will show, like, we had 60% possession, I think it says. We had more touches in the box or something, or the opposition box or whatever. But again, they had one goal from 26 chances. They had 1-on-1. They hit the bar. I think we were lucky. They didn't score one or two more. But again, I think for years now, right, teams have ridden their luck against us. And it's about time we've been riding our luck against teams now. And we're top of the league, playing poorly, top of the league. I think there's got to be a performance where we do turn a team over and we do really punish a team. But we've been saying this for the last few weeks now. We're still waiting for it to happen. So,
yeah, I think the last, probably since the first international break, and maybe just a little bit before, perhaps it just, I don't know whether teams are doing their own work more on us, and we're getting found out a little bit more. I don't know, but the first 5 or 6 games, I think obviously we were on fire, and it's hard to sit here and be too thing because again we've won today. But, the performances perhaps are not quite where they were the first 5 or 6 games in. But yeah, I don't know what you thought. Do you think we're getting found out a little bit, perhaps, and people are aware of how we're playing? I don't know.
I don't think we've been found out. I just think we keep losing the midfield battle. And, 90% of all games, the game is won in the midfield. You control the midfield, you control the game, you win. Our midfield is so unbalanced, it's not working for us. And I think teams are exploiting that. I mean, it's too easy to get past Turnbull and say Joel, or Turnbull and Wintle a minute. It's a bit too easy, it is. They find a lot of time and space. I think we stopped the press a bit as well. We have a start of the season with a high press, and we did that so well. We caused teams to cause problems and make mistakes. Or we punish teams for it. I think we've stopped a bit. Teams are pressing us now, and we are making the mistakes. And I think if you look at teams, they come into Cardiff and they try to play now, they are. And I think, I'm not saying we're struggling with it.
Sorry to jump in there as well, right? And I don't know what you were like down in the Canton end. Obviously, I'm up the family end with my boy, but I think we do allow teams to attack us. We did like stand off and invite them to attack. And I just think that baffles me, that does. And I'm not a tactician, and I'm not into all the... I'm just like, just get into him. But I don't know what I'm sat in the family and shouting just because we're just allowing them to run at us. And I think, obviously, the closer they get into the box, the more opportunity they got to bloody score in. I think it was a nervy end to the game. So we start off more, allowed them more space, more time on the ball, allowed them to carry it. We let them dictate the play, I think, towards the end. I think it's a bit of, I won't say a lack of pace, but there's a lack of mobility in the middle, which means they are not pressing as much as you want them to. They're not closing down as quick. I mean, first half, we were losing second balls and stuff. That shouldn't be happening. I think Willock gets the ball. Their midfielder goes across. Their left back is on Willock. 2 players on Willock. And there's no movement then for him to pass the ball. It's either goes back to Bagan. If it does come back to Bagan, we're so slow pushing forward for the counter. There's no one forward to pass to. So then he goes back to Chambers, looks to Washoe, looks to Capaccio, then looks to get it forward. But I just think there's a lack of ability maybe in the middle right now. And the balance isn't quite right. And it's affecting the way we play, I think. I think defensively and going forward, we struggle a bit because of that. But like you said, we're winning games though. So then there's no need for the manager to make changes when you're winning games. And I do think that's an area he will strengthen in January. I think that's something he will target in January. I think we need to, but I think, to be honest, because I don't think we can ride our luck as much as we have been, and relying on teams being poor and not being able to put the ball in the back of the net, having 26 opportunities. But we shall see what happens. There's a question here again from Jamie. Do you think we play better with or without Perry NG? Two answers to this. So I think Perry NG offers a bit more defensively. I think he's got the dark arts, the shithousery. That's why we love him for it. But I think Capaccio offers so much more going forward. And because of that, it allows the forward players a bit more freedom as well. Because he does the overlap with the underlap, it allows Kellyman a bit more time with the ball then to cut inside if he has to, or to take the man on and trigger the ball in. Same with Isaac Davis when he's on. I think the pace we got on that wing there together was blistering and scary. But I think Perry does a bit more defensively. But that's only because I think he's more experienced, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think he knows the dark arts a bit more. He knows what to expect in defending. He tucks in a bit better. And that'll come to Capaccio, but I think Capaccio's potential, nothing against Perry NG, but I think Capaccio's potential will take him far beyond NG's level. Yeah, which is, still, was he 18? Which is a scary thought, really. Yeah, no, 100%. And obviously, NG got injured, didn't he, just before the international break? So I think he missed the Leyton Orient game, didn't he? Yeah. But prior to that, I thought he's not saying back to his best, but, we were seeing glimpses of the old Perry NG, which was, was a good thing. And I think, if we can have that competition there, those two pushing each other week in, week out, it's only going to be a positive for us, isn't it? Exactly, again. And it's a perfect guy to learn from because Perry's been there, Championship right back of the year, Players Player of the Year twice, or is it Fans Player of the Year twice? He's got to learn from someone. You've got to learn from someone like Perry, and that will come as well. I mean, it's just good to see us now using the Cardiff players, and not. It's good to see us not saying, "No, give him a few years, he'll be there." Players have shown it now,
So just imagine how good they're going to be in a few years. It's exciting times. I mean, on the pitch and off the pitch, I think, for the club. Well, on the pitch, it's exciting times anyway.
Yeah, no, agreed. Lee Chan says, what was the crowd numbers today? I think it was 20,300 and something, was it?
Yeah.
So fair play. Obviously, Reading came. I think they were probably close. I think they sold their first allocation, didn't they? And I think they had another 600. So potentially 2,700 Reading fans. I don't know how many of the second lot of their allocation they sold, but special mention to them, because on the 59th minute they done it was supposed to have been a minute, say silence really, but just a minute of respect to the lives lost in the Aberfan disaster. And I thought it was a nice touch in the sense that everybody got on their feet and they were clapping, and fair play to the Reading supporters. They did the same as well. And there was a little bit of a break in play. I think it was a goal kick, and you could see some of the players clapping as well. And I just thought, that was a nice touch, really.
Yeah, to be fair, the football family and the football world comes together when tragedies happen. So, all respect to them for applauding. Like we've gone to away games before and seen that home fans just showing no respect for things that happen. I mean, so all credit to them. Came in big numbers, to be fair. It's not a long journey to make, but they came in numbers. I thought they were quiet until they scored. They were a bit loud when they were winning, but then were quiet straight away again, and they did. And a bit disappointed because I've seen smaller crowds come to us and be a lot louder. But again, they're on a tough time again in this league. So
yeah. Halftime Orange says, would you have taken 26 points from 12 games at the start of the season? Average of 2.16 per game. There are 34 games to go. If we average the same, we finish on 98 points.
I think if you go back to the first thing we did this season, was our score predictions. I think you'll find I would not have taken that, because I said we'd win every single game and we're champions by November. So 98 points, I wanted all 100 and whatever it is. So that's a failure. 98 points says we should be hitting triple figures, at least 100 points.
I just wanted to mention as well, because obviously we talked a bit about the results and in the division a little bit earlier, and I think League One is not easy. The manager came out and said it earlier about Osho and his performances and things, and you've only got to look at Luton and Plymouth, who came down with us, and they're. I much prefer being in the position we are in rather than the likes of Luton. I think something like 14th, and I think Plymouth are like one position above the bottom four, I believe. So, as many negatives as perhaps there was today, I think we still got to take so many positives out of it. We had a young squad, a lot of young players, academy players. Yes, we're not playing great, but, we're winning games. And like you said earlier, if we can win games when we're not playing, our best football, then, surely we got to be, kind of happy with that.
Like I said, all jokes aside, we're all taking that. We'd all accept that. If you look at the big picture, right, we came down with Luton and Plymouth, and, so many teams struggle with the relegation hangover. We lost 15, 16 players in the summer. And then we turned to the academy and said, you lot now got to step up to the mark and do it. Not only that, those kids have stepped up and have done the job they've been asked to do. They're playing good football now. Poor performance once or twice, but some good performances in there the lads have. We're top of the league. We're scoring quite a few goals. We're doing things the right way. So, first of all, I would have taken us playing the academy players and having a solid season. But it's just top of the league now. With these academy players, hands down, we'll take that all day of the week. We're doing it the right way. We're not splashing the cash like some clubs could have done. Birmingham City, was it 10 million or 50 million on Stansfield? We don't need to spend that. We'll go into the academy and get our own players. We'll make it out. So I'm more than happy with what's happening there. I think we're slowly building a philosophy. For years of watching Cardiff, it's been we went from 4-4-2 under Dave Jones to long ball, hoofball football. Is now a philosophy from the first team down to the academy of playing a possession-based football. It's working for us. When it works, it's some of the best football we've seen. So everything is in place now for the future, and I'm more than happy with that. So yeah, I'm not going to complain at all. I think this is better than what we'd all thought we would have been.
Yeah, no, happy days. Going back to the midfield, then what changes would you make, or who would you have in the middle end? And obviously there's concerns. Turnbull and Joel today didn't really cut the mustard, perhaps. Do you think I was screaming at around 70 minutes to bring Wintle on. Obviously didn't come on today. But I think perhaps, he would have come in and maybe shored it up. Perhaps, obviously he's not going to come in and, give you that attacking threat. But I thought at that point of the game, we just needed to kind of tighten things up a little bit, perhaps. And I don't know.
I wouldn't know, because again, we've played Turnbull and Wintle together and it doesn't look quite right. We played Joel and Turnbull together, doesn't look quite right. I think we played Joel and Wintle together and the balance isn't quite there, because I think when Wintle plays, he sits as a 6, so he's quite deep. In front of him then is Joel or Turnbull on his own, and ahead of him is Ruben. So it's effectively one man running the middle on his own. The best midfield partnership I've seen the last year, I'd say, was Turnbull and Robertson. I don't think Robertson ever plays against us again. I don't think he ever puts a shirt on again. So Fico has been brilliant when he's come on. Playing with Fico and Wintle together and sort of have a deeper two, and let's look to push, let Ruben stay further forward. But then there might be too much space in between the midfield two and the front line. I'm not quite sure why, but it's just a tough one. Like, honestly, Capaccio came on in midfield a few games ago. I think only Bradford, was it? Not Bradford, sorry. Was it Rhodri? I think it might have been. Capaccio came on in midfield and he was brilliant. He was running around a bit. So there's options there. I don't know what the right partnership will be right now. But the midfield, it's just not balanced right. There's something wrong with it.
No. Comment here from David. It's strange watching Cardiff this season. Boring, possession-based football, but top of the league. City don't look convincing to me. I
think, again, there's games where it's come off right, and I think, Bradford, Rotherham, Plymouth, Peterborough, Leighton Orient scored 4 goals. When we show up as a team, the performances are there. The football's exciting, it's attacking, it's fluid. I think some games you have looked a bit more rigid and a bit nervy. And I think I understand what he's saying. I'm not saying it was boring, but like today, I think there was a bit slow, a bit ponderous. But again, I think it's going to happen because it's a new formation, new style of football, new brand of football, a lot of youngsters coming through. We've got players who are coming back from injury, trying to fit in and get minutes here and there. So it's going to happen, and there's going to be games where it's not as exciting as attacking. But as long as you win those games, you can't really complain.
Yeah. Comment from Paul here as well about the referee today. What did you think of the ref today, lads? Gave them a lot of free kicks, but again, we got hardly anything.
Oh, I'm sick of it. I'm actually sick. Normally, like, teams who are struggling more with the referees, we are winning games and more with the referees. That should say everything that needs to be said. Like, Salek today is trying to go through and goal. The defender's pulling his shirt. The defender slips. And then they give a foul to Reading. I'm like, I don't understand how. Was it Capaccio tackles someone, say, on the other side, right for the linesman. Linesman doesn't flag it. But the referee, the other side of the pitch, decides to give it. The linesman's there. He's not flagging for it. Why are you getting involved?
Yeah.
We don't trust the linesman. I don't understand. Honestly, the referee and officiating standard in this league is so poor. It is absolutely dreadful.
JT mentions as well something, and I missed it. I did, but they were talking about it around me. But the line flagged and the referee waved carry on first half. I missed it. I didn't know what I missed. But come on, man.
It's again, the refereeing is so poor, and nothing ever gets done about it. But I can't remember bad as in League One. I mean, I thought the Championship referee was poor some games. I'd give anything for that style of refereeing again right now, because the League One is just so bad. And it says, like I said, it says a lot when you're winning games and you're still complaining about the refereeing standard. Like, we beat Plymouth 4-0 and you're still complaining about the refereeing standard. 4 goals past Orient, we're still complaining. I don't understand what has to happen to Salek to be given a foul. Do they have to rip the shirt off his back for it to be given as a foul? They're pulling him. They're all over him. They're holding him. They're on his back. I mean, something serious could happen. Right? It could be a serious injury. We wouldn't get it. It's so poor. I honestly don't know what a free kick is anymore.
No. And there's a couple of points today, I think. I'm not sure if it was before we scored the second goal or not. Or I think a throw-in went out on the right-hand side as I'm looking at the pitch end from the family end. And we went to take the quick throw-in, but two of their players went down in the penalty area. Now, if two players... The rest blowing straight away in here, and I think Andy Carroll done it. I don't know if you've seen the video the other week. I think he was defending a corner, and the ball went out to the corner, and he went down holding his head. Now, if a referee sees somebody holding his head, he's got to blow straight away, and I just think that rule is.
Yeah. So the rule as well is right. If a player goes down and the treatment, the physios come on, he has to go off for 30 seconds. I think it is. Yeah. However, if two players go down, neither player has to go off. So what you see happening now is one player will go down and another one will drop to the floor and start holding their head as well. That way then neither goes off, they both stay on, they take the sting out the game and kill some time. And I think they keep on trying to do it a few times as well, take the sting out the game a bit. Luckily we punished them for it, but yeah, it's so frustrating. You usually see on corners and set pieces, they'll throw themselves to the floor and the ref will just blow up instantly.
Yeah,
but again, the ref it's poor.
Yeah, it wasn't great. You mentioned quite a bit about Salek there, with obviously having his shirt pulled off. Really glad he managed to get on the score sheet today. I think he's had it tough. Thought he worked really hard today for the team. Like you said, didn't get any change out of the referee whatsoever today. But really glad he managed to get the ball in the back of the net.
I was glad he scored. I don't think he should have started though. I think Callum Robson, 5 goals in 5 games, I thought was the man in form. I thought he was unlucky not to get the start today, if I'm honest with you. Again, he had a chance towards the end of the game. He could have taken a shot. He didn't. Another time he goes through on the side. He's going to shoot, but he sort of cuts back inside. But I'm really happy for Salek because he does a lot of the dirty work. Like, he's holding the ball up, linking up others into play. He's getting stuck in. He's winning. Well, I say winning free kicks. He's not really getting any free kicks, but he's doing the hard stuff. And as long as he does that, I appreciate him 100%. So I was delighted he got his goal today for him. Fair play. His confidence must be affected by not scoring. So, but yeah, I just don't understand what a free kick is anymore. Like, you can see him getting more and more frustrated as well with the ref. I think one player picks the ball up to throw it and realises, I do this, I get carded, I get punished for this.
Yeah. Again, listening to BBM's press conference after the game, I think he said, he's had that conversation with Salek, and he wants Ruben to be more of a presence in and around the box to kind of take a bit of pressure off him, and what Salek can do to try and lose defenders, so he's not as close and things like that. But yeah, he does get manhandled. I think the Reading players got more chance of having Salek's shirt than perhaps Diant have, really, to be fair. But it is what it is, isn't it?
I think it's as well, mate, because to be fair, he's in the box, right? But there's no balls in the box to him. It's always stop, cut back, look for a pass. No, crosses normal, look for a pass. Just whip the ball in. Right, they might clear it, right? They might take a deflection. Your lad might get on the end of it. He might score. He might win a corner, might set a piece. You've got to put the ball in the box. If you don't put the ball in the box, you're less likely to score. And it's something we seem scared of. We don't want to cross it. We don't want to take a shot where the shot is on. We look for the next pass. It's as if they're scared of losing the ball because of it. I just think if we start putting the ball in the box first time a bit quicker, he'll get a lot more goals. I think we've seen in the Championship, we put the ball in the box quicker for him. He gets on the end of things. He gets off the shoulder of the last defender, puts it in. And I just think we've stopped doing that this season.
Yeah. What I want to talk a little bit about Reading, in the sense that only because I was speaking to a couple of the Reading supporters before I went into the ground today, and they were saying they've been obviously poor up until this point. We'd have plenty of chances today, but obviously I think they've dropped down to something like 22nd in the table now. Obviously a massive club. Been in the Premier League, etc. But for me, they didn't look like a team that should be where they probably are today, whether they raised their game because they come in to play at Cardiff City. But, because I know some of the fans from other clubs do tune in, but would you, if they can play like that for the majority of the rest of the season, would you be concerned if you was a Reading supporter, do you think?
It's a tough one because, again, Port Vale looked better than they looked brilliant against us. Port Vale did, and we were lucky not to walk away with that from the point. But then they struggled at the bottom. I think Luton really got against us. We scored against the run of play, I think, and they down there. I think there's teams that are put performances in against us, but then struggle a week later. So again, if I was a Reading fan, I'd be just coming away thinking that's football. That is. How many shots on goal do we have today? 1-on-1 with the keeper, cleared off the line. This was us last year. Now, with some games, you're thinking we should have scored 3 or 4, and we couldn't get the ball over the line. I think I would be concerned about the position they're in. I think they could do being a bit more clinical in front of goal. And I do think, as the game went on, I think their midfield did get, second half, their midfield got overrun a bit. If I was them, I'd be screaming to shut down in the motor. I think him next to Charlie Savage, I think would be brilliant for them. You got a runner who'll run non-stop for you. You got someone who can get on the ball and make things happen. But again, what was it? 12 games in the league with played now? There's no time to panic yet. This league is so up and down. In the Championship, you can always say, look, 10 games in, you can have an idea where you're going to be about. League One is so up and down. You're not going to know where you are until December. So Reading might go on a run now, 3 or 4 games, and be up there in the playoffs. So I wouldn't panic too much yet.
Yeah, no, fair point. But no, I just wanted to do that because obviously I know some fans from the game will maybe tune in, and but yeah, I personally think if they play like they did today for the rest of the season, they'll they won't be anywhere near the bottom. I wouldn't have thought, but you never know.
But like you said though, could you say that they upped their game today because it was against us, and therefore when they play something like Wimbledon or Port Vale, will that club up their game against them then? Because they see them as a big club, and therefore then they're coming unstuck a bit. But again, this is football. This is
you'd like to think that they're all professional players. They should all treat every game as if it is a cup final. But as well as I do, it doesn't happen. And we just have to see what happens. But yeah. Bolton away next weekend, early lunchtime kickoff. I know the early lunchtime kickoffs make you sick, mate, but obviously I know it's away as well. But that's not going to be an easy trip up to Bolton next week. I think somebody just put in the chat that they looked quite decent Friday night. I can't remember who they played, but
Huddersfield 1-0 down. I think the last 1-2-1 they did.
Oh, did they? Fair play. Another massive club in League One. Another team who have been up there. Some great players come through Bolton over the years. I can always remember Kevin Davis was a kind of stalwart for him when he JJ Okocha. Gary Speed have a bit of a stint at Bolton.
Yep. Just think, right, Big Sam, I probably had the best Bolton side I've seen. A young Jack Wilshere on loan. I think he had Nicholas Nelka at one time. That was the French. Joker, was playing from Campo. I mean, he built a proper side at Bolton when I was growing up. They were a top Premier League side. Like, I mean, sad to see where they are now. But it'll be a tough one, and it'll be harder for the fans as well. Go that far, that early, especially after going home at 10 o'clock at night from a Sean Morrison event. It's going to be tough for them. Do you mean?
It is, and we'll come on to Sean Morrison. I am going to play our little video that we've got to play from the boss man. So we will be back. So probably come back for another 5 or 10 minutes after the ad, guys. So if you can think of any questions in the meantime, when you're watching the ad, chuck them in the chat and we'll answer them when we come back.
This episode of Cardiff City World is brought to you by Coral, the proud sponsor of the TalkSport Fan Network, here for all kinds of fans. For the armchair experts, whether you're constantly negative, overly positive, or maybe even the instant over-the-top reaction social media guy or girl. For the football fashionistas still clinging to the legendary terrace fashion of yesteryear, or the best retro gear from Michael Thorne, the nostalgia merchants dreaming of the old lady Ninian Park, or still celebrating Campbell's goal in the Millennium Stadium, whatever kind of fan you are, with Coral's free-to-play reward shaker with a guaranteed daily reward or offer throughout the season, simply shake your phone to win. Over 18s only, maximum 1 reward or offer per player per day, 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. For more information on safer gambling, visit gambleaware.org.
That would be laughing. Just shake your phone. If I do that, my phone will crash and restart itself.
Crash and burn. Yeah. You mentioned just before I played the ad about the Sean Morrison evening. I am going to put the image up on the screen. I'm not sure if there is any tickets left, but if anybody is interested, Sean Morrison is going to be at the Splott Cons in Cardiff next Friday evening. If you do fancy it, it might be worth you chancing your arm and dropping that email. Sending an email to see if there are any tickets left. I'd be surprised if there are any left at the moment, but you never know. Chance your arm. But yeah, should be another good one, but it'll be a top man, Mozza, won't he, in fairness?
Yeah, again, I think the last great captain we've had, I think, and again, that's no criticism on Joe Rolls, but this is, Sean Morrison was the last proper leader. He's a warrior, I mean. I think Ray Brewster came off a Swansea in one of the games, and the first 2 minutes, he went to the back of him and took him out. You know, he just got everyone else around him going, like, and absolutely love Mozza, so looking forward to that.
I've got to bring this comment up. Gavin, evening buddy. After this show, Lee Trundle's boxing live on YouTube tonight.
I hope they actually drop him first round. Bang, yeah. Go on.
I hope it's not first round. I hope they kind of just fire loads into him.
Broken ribs, broken jaw.
3 rounds, yeah.
Oh, happy birthday to Mark in the chat as well. I know it's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Mark.
And Martin's was yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday, Martin. Hope we've had good days, gents. Steve Morgan says we'll do well at Bolton. Great stadium and the pitch will suit us. Here's an interesting one from Wes. Thank you, buddy, for getting involved. Do you think it should be 4-4-2 at home and 4-3-3 away? Robbo and Salek are a must at home.
No, I think long gone are the days of 4-4-2. I think teams play with 5-man midfield. It overruns a 4-4-2. And I think we're struggling right now with a 5-man midfield in certain games. I mean, I know I'd get a 4-3. Well, we sort of play a 4-3-3 sort of now anyway, because I think some games you see it, the wide wings are tuck in a bit more. And then, I don't know, I just think 4-2-3-1 is sort of my preferred choice. But the 2 has got to be the right balance. I think if you get that right, the forward line ahead of them, that'll work.
Yeah, and I think we haven't had it right, have we? And hence the amount of opportunities and pressure we're putting under Nathan Trott in goals. Like you said, if it wasn't for him in goals again today, and that's no disrespect to Matt Turner, because I think he's not harshly done by really, but he's just been unfortunate that Nathan Trott have come into the team and kind of haven't looked backwards. I know he conceded 3 against Leyton Orient, but he kept us in our game with a couple of decent saves as well. But
yeah, again, if you're Matt Turner, right, you're thinking, great, this is probably my chance this season, and I've signed this octopus now who catches everything. I mean, you throw a cold in the air, he'll catch it. I mean, to be fair, Nathan Trott is outstanding. But if I'm Turner, I'm thinking, what a player to learn off. I'm watching him every day in training. If I do what he does in training, if I can get so close to the level he's training at, I can be that sort of keeper. I mean, the performances we've seen from him. No, I love Jack Alnwick. I really do. I think he's one of my favourites. He was, to be fair. I think he was unlucky with the defence he had in front of him, but he makes them two look so. I don't want to say average, but I mean, Horvath last season or Nathan Trott. I mean, he's head and shoulders above him. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday fans say, I seen a couple of comments from their fans saying now Horvath sent off. Hope that means we don't get to see him again. And I'm thinking, the worrying thing for me is though, Trott's only on loan. I guarantee that there's going to be teams out there now sniffing around him. Because I know I think we got to buy
the
buy. But if, say, we offer 2.5 million, I guarantee other club are going to go, let's match it. We could offer him more in the Championship. We've got to be dealing with him now, trying to get him signed now, ready for January. I hope the club have already done it, if I want to.
Yeah, I don't know how that kind of works with the contract and stuff, to be honest. Perhaps that might be a conversation to have with Aaron. Perhaps he might know a bit more ins and outs with that. But, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, I'm totally agree with you. I'd be doing everything I can to kind of make sure he's there next season. But, perhaps it's something they look at in January. Perhaps, like you said, no doubt they're probably looking at it now. But I don't know what the kind of the implications are with obviously the loan. And I know there's an option to buy. But like you said, if somebody like Leicester City will get him promoted, come in with 5 million to Copenhagen and,
Exactly. And let's be honest, there's no guarantee you'll say to Cardiff, you know what, I'll stay with you because you might get promoted. But then if, like I said, Leicester City come in, he's saying, I got a chance to Premier League. So I'm hoping the clubs are speaking now and going, look, let's get this deal done now. We can announce it in the summer if needs be. We can announce it in January, whenever. But let's get a deal done behind the scenes. There's no chance he's going anywhere else. Obligation to buy if you're promoted.
Yeah, Jonathan just says, Trott has an obligation to buy if we are promoted, so we need to get promoted to get him. But surely he's got to agree to that himself as well, and he's got to sign a contract, haven't he? If somebody like a Leicester City, for example, come in and say, right, Cardiff, we're offering you 20 grand a week, we'll offer you 40 grand a week. It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
That's the thing. Like I said, I hope the club are working behind the scenes now to get it sorted. I mean, what a statement that would be as well, though. Cardiff has signed Nathan Trott, probably the best keeper outside the Premier League right now in English football. I don't think as a keeper the Championship comes close to what he's doing. So we get that done. That's a statement signing for us. And let's be honest, that's a young keeper you've got for the next 8 to 10 years if you can keep hold of him. That's that position sorted. And we've had issues in the past with keepers. I mean, trying to sign runners on a loan didn't work out. We signed Allsop. Dreadful, let's be honest. Horvath we signed. I mean, come on, the less said, the better.
You don't want him back in, but do.
Sorry, Dexter's going. No, just keep him. No return, sorry. Nah, again, but there's a few players we got to get rid of. But yeah, and I'm nothing Horvath. It didn't work out. Thank you for all you've done. It's best we all move on. We've found a keeper now. We found a special player in Trott. And to be fair, whoever found him, whoever went, that's who I want. Hats off to him because that's the signing that's paid off tenfold so far.
Yeah, you can't knock his contribution, obviously, to the team since he's come in fairness, I think the first game or whatever after Matt Turner played the first one against Peterborough, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I know he was close to saving the penalty in fairness, but he didn't. But I thought it was harsh to bring Trott straight in, but I don't think you haven't looked back since, have you, in fairness, to Trott. To
be fair, if he's putting the performances in training like he does in the games, nothing is Turner, you can see why you'd go for him. Because you're thinking he's someone with league experience who will set the back four. He is going to be my number one. And if he can do things like that, then he's outstanding, let's be honest. He's... For me,
you look at the two keepers today, and I know Trott had a yellow card for supposed time wasting, which I thought was a joke. I thought their keeper's distribution was shocking.
Yeah,
really poor.
And I think it's one of those for me, like where I'm not bothered about distribution normally. It's how good they are shot stopping. That's the main thing for a keeper. Ryan Allsop was good with his ball at his feet, but couldn't catch a cold. Horvath was pretty poor at both. I thought Arnick was better with his ball at his feet. But look at Trott, right? Catches everything. His distribution is a lot better. 9 out of 10 times he goes to the player he's aiming for. It might not on the one time, but how many goals has he stopped us conceding this season so far?
I think he's outstanding, but and I think his body, he's got a body like a sponge because he absorbs the shots and they kind of stick to him. Whether or not he's got super glue all over his shirt and the ball, but yeah, outstanding. And like I said, fingers crossed we can get that done.
But like, look last season, Norwich away. I think for their goals, Horvath doesn't move. His feet are in cement. He just stands there. And you look at Trott on the save tree. He's like a cat. Top corner. He's there. He's got a hand to it, a fingertip to it. I mean, Jesus, what a player he is like, and he's definitely a fan favourite already. He's just outstanding.
Yeah. Right. So just before we wrap up, then, like we said, Bolton away next week. Do you think there'll be many changes to the squad, mate? Obviously, not sure injury-wise what happened there. I think Willock come off. He looked at, I don't know whether it was cramp, but...
he should be holding his hamstring. There was a ball going down. It looked like he pulled it or tweaked it, trying to turn the player. I think there'll be 1 or 2 changes. I think a few players will be carrying niggles and stuff, and they'll get dropped or rotated. It'll be a good chance for Kellerman to get 60 minutes again. And Isaac Davis on the other wing. A bit of pace, directness to run at them. I won't be against that. I mean, I don't know if he starts at Kian to say, go out and prove me wrong, but I think Kellerman one wing, Isaac the other wing, pace, direct.
Do you think Winter will maybe come back into that midfield next week?
Yeah, I do. I think it's Joe Watford did a very quiet game today. I think it brings Winter in away from home as well to shore up the defence, just to bully their players a bit more. The back line is a bit the one I'm unsure about because, again, Lawler's out injured. He said Fish is carrying a knock and he's strapped his knee up, so he's playing today struggling. Oshaw is struggling mentally a big time, I think. Yeah. So does he risk playing him again? Chambers will stand the today, so I think he probably plays Chambers. But it's who partners Chambers is the question then.
Yeah, I haven't heard any. I know he said about Lawler's injury being away with Wales, but have you seen anything? Do we know what the injury is? Groin
issue, I think I read. He's picked up a slight groin issue. And again, they're the awkward ones because, again, you could feel fine, go and training the day before a game, and all of a sudden it completely goes. So it's a tough one, that is, but I believe it's a groin injury. But
am I right in saying that's something you've struggled with over the years as well?
Yeah, he's missed a few games this season due to his groin. And, you hope it's just not a reoccurring thing. It's more a case of he did at the start of the season. He's not been quite right since. He's played through it, and that's why he's flared up. And you hope it's just that. And a week or two off, and he'll be 100% off and fit to go again.
Here's an option for you then, right? And somebody mentioned it in the chat earlier, and I apologise for not bringing it up early. But there's hundreds of comments in the chat, so I don't get to put them all up. Putting Bagan in at centre-back, maybe, and that young TJ Parfitt I thought was decent. Had a good performance the other night. Do you think it might be a step too soon for him to maybe go there?
I was impressed with Parfitt, by the way. I thought he had a solid game against Newport. I think BBM doesn't want to put too young of a back line there. I think what he would more likely do is keep Bagan left back and probably risk playing NG as centre-half. We've seen him play there before. You've got someone like Chambers alongside him who's going to win the headers. You're going to afford to have him in as the ball, the one closing down the stuff. And with Kapaki next to him, they'll probably speak to each other a lot more. I think he'll probably play him there, I think, as centre-half and balls through. And like I said, NG's done it before. I have no issues in playing there. I think he'll do have a solid performance. I think the only time he's struggling with centre-half was when he was in the Championship. And we've seen teams are launching the ball towards him, knowing the striker would win the flick-ons, win the headers because of the size difference. Yeah. But again, in League One, I think you can risk that a bit, I think.
I'm kind of with you in the sense that I think Bagan is starting to attack more down and support Willock on that left-hand side. And I think if we put him in that centre-back position, I think we're going to lose that element of... I'm not saying young TJ wouldn't be able to do that, but I just think he'll probably go with, like you said, if we are struggling, put an NG at the back. But, it's good options to have. Somebody just put in there as well, Jamie, how long for Tanner's return? I don't think we'd expected him back till January, are we?
End of January, I reckon. Time he's match fit to start again, end of January. But when you say about Baker then, I think he looks better when Isaac come on. I think because he knows Isaac got pace, he can do the overlap. And if they lose the ball, Isaac can track back quicker. I think he does a lot. It looks a bit better with a bit of pace ahead of him. Not saying he doesn't do a good job with Willock, but I think he looks a different player with Isaac ahead of him. But end of January, I think, for Tanner. And it's going to take a few games to get him back 100% as well.
Yeah.
So you probably not going to see him at his best for a while.
Yeah. Last point I wanted to make was we had a great opportunity. I think Cian Ashford broke with a ball. Isaac Davis was screaming for it on the left-hand side as I'm looking at the picture. And but for whatever reason, he didn't get the ball out. I think he ended up losing the ball in the end in the middle of the field. Just needed, again, going back that we're not quick enough with the distribution. It was on. If he'd looked up. But again, is that a confidence thing? He hasn't played much. And
it could be like a young thing. And so he's probably thinking, I just got to run with the ball now, carry the ball as far as I can, then look up to see who's with me. Whereas other players might think, right, I know there's going to be a run on the far side now. I know if I pick the ball across now, it's going to get them. It might be things like that. But again, it's a tough one because I think today now a few times the distribution wasn't quite right. I think sometimes he overhit passes or underhit passes. So I think maybe it could be a confidence thing. I haven't got the ability to get the ball as quickly over there, so I'm going to carry it and hope I get support. Might be that.
Yeah. Happy days. Right, guys, we're about to love you and leave you. Massive 3 points for us again today. Take us top of the league. Great to see the players going on the field as well and giving it the old cheers to the Canton. I think Robbo's still the only one who goes around the whole field. I think most of the players kind of halfway go over towards the Ninian and then down to the Canton. I think Chambers was up towards the family stand as well today, but I still think I'd love to see him kind of do a full lap, really, just to give the kids. Yeah. There's so many kids up in the family stand, and I just think it. I know obviously the Canton is where all the majority of the noise and that comes from, but you've got so many future Canton youngsters in that family, and I think it'd make their day, really, to be honest. But I just wish they'd come up and I don't know, just for the kids more than anything.
I agree with that. Yeah, you see them, they sort of linger the halfway line and then sort of walk straight to the side and come to the Canton, then walk around and go around the tunnel. It does seem a lack of recognition towards the family stand, and you would like to see more of it because, again, the kids are there. And again, seeing Rob come towards us and clap us and stuff is brilliant. But can you imagine being a kid and see the player come up to you like that? That's going to be everything for them. So I'm all for them doing that, going to the family stand first, and they should do a bit more, I think.
Yeah, so if there's anybody watching, get up and see the kids in the family stand. Happy days. Right, thank you all for tuning in. Keep an eye out on the channel for what is occurring throughout the week. If you're not a member of Cardiff City World and you would like to become one, for the price of a cup of coffee a month, you can help support the channel, which allows Si to keep creating content. That goes out 7 days a week. You can scan the QR code in the top corner there, or you can follow the information that's been going across the bottom of the screen for the entire show. If anybody got any questions or anything regarding that, you can obviously hit myself or Reese up. But other than that, no star. We will definitely be back next Saturday. Might be a little bit earlier because I think I've got a night shift, so might have to have a chat with you and do it about 8 o'clock, but if that's all right.
Yeah, I'll be all right.
But yeah, no, I appreciate everybody tuning in, all the comments and things, much appreciated. If you can like and subscribe and do all that malarkey and share, it really helps us out. Much appreciated. Up the city, we are top of the league.
Taking the piss, top of the league.
This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/AcePodcastNation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans, for fans, balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.